Buddy. Wow, what a difference a week makes. I'm so glad you guys decided to come.
Yeah, what happened to the
Did you turn me on, Breezy? We always begin with treatment. Take a deep breath. And what I know is that infinite presence of spirit is all that there is. There is a power and a presence of life and light. It is us, as us, now. And I know that each one of us opens up to that idea that we are connected, we are loved, we are powerful, we are creative, and we live our lives as the God beings we were meant to be. And so, in that knowing, we demonstrate health and prosperity, love and joy, success of all kinds, peace, knowing our wholeness. And in that gratitude, we are grateful for equipment that works, wonderful material, a great center, and terrific people. And so with that deep sense of gratitude and connection, I simply release this treatment into all that spirit is, because I know that spirit is all. As together we say, and so it is. Come on in, come on in. You might want to come up just a little bit from the back, because I am speaking solo here. If you can't hear me, then that's on you. Next Sunday, or next Monday, where are you going to be?
Not here.
Not here. Not here. Because if you come next Monday, you will find a very awful experience. The place will be dark. The doors will be locked, and you will feel a sense of loss. I've had people say, I came and it was closed. It was awful. So don't do that. I will be back the Monday after that, and then the Monday after that, don't come. So we're hopscotching right now. I'm going to be in Irvine, California next Monday at the, it's not annual, what is it when it's every 2 years now?
Biannual.
No, that's twice a year.
Winter gathering.
Yeah, biannual.
Every 2 years.
No, biannual is twice a year.
Then what's semi-annual?
No, at any rate, I'm totally distracted from my microphone not working, so. So next week I'll be in Irvine, California at the at the Centers for Spiritual Living Convention, where our beloved John will no longer be president or field leader of this international organization. And I'm introducing him to get his doctorate on Thursday night at the awards banquet. And the last thing I'm going to say is, thank you for giving me my husband back. Yes. Yes. So that's where I will be next week, and then we come back and we're going to have a big party, a big welcome home party for John. And we're going to have balloons and a banner and snacks and all that stuff. And then the week after that, I won't be here. Just a heads up, we're going to have Reverend Dusty Ripplemeyer from Raleigh coming over for the Sunday talk. And it's first Sunday, they're going to do tacos, and there's going to be an event in the afternoon, and it's going to be a wonderful day. And then the next day, that Monday, I won't be here because I'm going to be where?
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, yes.
Oh, boy.
So, we're here tonight, we're not here next week. We're here the next week, we're not here the next week. And then we're probably here for a long time. So, keep your schedules straight so you know what's going on.
Are you a grazing teacher?
Hey, what?
Grazing.
Grazing. How you graze the class, and then you take some time off, and you don't sit down for too long, you're always moving.
I have been teaching on Monday nights almost every Monday for 35 years.
You are such a master
I am not a
teacher.
grazing teacher. Jeez Louise, I am a committed, present, focused.
I wasn't
Some would
talking
say
about
put
it.
much of my life on hold
You as a teacher,
for Sunday,
right.
Monday, Tuesday. Yes, Jane,
How about Sundays?
how about Sundays?
Are we gonna have any, service or anything, since you and John are gonna be?
Do you think
She
we would
just
shut
announced
down?
Well,
Yeah.
this is
We
your-
don't even shut
Yeah.
down for snow.
No.
No.
Whoever can plow their way in is welcome. We have Reverend Dusty Ripplemeyer from Raleigh.
That's
She's gonna
fine.
be here the first Sunday in March. Donna, are you guys doing tacos?
There's beans back there.
I heard tacos. I heard it was gonna be tacos, so I don't know, I won't be here. But Sunday's gonna be fantastic, and then Monday's gonna be a night off again. And then, the next week, we'll be back and everything will be, in normal flow. For those of you who were not here yesterday, our beloved Morgan Miles transitioned on Saturday. And she had been in Charlotte with her sister under hospice care. We're having a memorial service for her Sunday at 1 after the celebration. And it sounds like there are gonna be a number of people from the community here, so if you are here, if you could welcome people and show them where the bathrooms are and, you know, have them feel comfortable being here, that would be a really good thing for us as the family to do for the guests that are coming in the door. Okay?
Yeah.
Good. So do we have any questions or comments from last week's reading? That would have been chapters 7 and 8. Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
I think this book is terrific. I do. I think it's great.
I find myself amused as he talks about women not having the distractions of work and.
Didn't you just want to smack him?
I found it amusing. I did.
He talks about how women have these problems, these emotional problems, because they take something that's said to them in the morning and they stew on it all day because they have nothing else to do but stew on their hurt feelings.
Yeah.
And then the guy is off at work and he let it go and he comes back and doesn't know what in the world is going on. And that she will create sickness for herself. Keep in mind, this is 100 years ago, but really. So you had nothing on chapters 7 and 8? What homework did I give you?
It
No,
was
I gave you something to do.
You did?
Yes, I did, something to notice.
A thought and feeling and action.
Dog ate it.
Think how you want to feel.
Yeah.
Think about how you want to feel, because we talked about the feeling body last week. And did you think about how you wanted to feel?
I always do.
That's smart. Well, I guess if I didn't remember it, then I can't expect you to. I was gonna go back over and listen to the whole 2 hours just to find out what I told you to do, but I elected not to. My husband is leaving for a 2-week trip, and that always requires, energy to have that happen. Yes.
I have a question. We choose how we want to feel.
See, always a thought first, and then a feeling. A lot of people think they have a feeling and then a thought. That is not the way it works. We always have a thought, which is a choice, and then a feeling, even if it's subconscious. Maybe we don't know. Maybe we've thought that thought so many times and had that feeling that it just happens automatically and we don't know it's happened. But there is always the thought, and the thought is always a choice. So the overting of it into your conscious awareness is to think about what you want to feel. I could bring everybody up. Wow, we live in the best place in the world. How many people moved here from other places so that they could live in these mountains? How many people noticed over the last month how beautiful it is here? How nice the people are, how great the traffic still is, even though we're growing, how wonderful it is to be able to be in Asheville, North Carolina. Sometimes I look around and my heart just gets so big because it is so beautiful. Right?
Yeah.
Check out your feelings.
Yeah.
I should have done this one first. I may have to go over and do another one. Oh, man. Did you watch the news today?
No.
Have you heard the news? Have you heard about all of the
No,
horrible, awful things that are happening in the world? Check out your feelings. You feel it? Okay. Isn't this the best center ever?
Yes.
You know, we got the Center of the Year award last year. Remember, we had a big party and we made videotapes of acceptance. And so of all the centers in the whole world, they picked us as the best one because we have the best people, we have the best teachers, we have the best facility, we have the best website, we have the best you. You are the best. Check yourself out. How do you feel?
The best.
Yeah. So you think and then you feel. Always. And if you feel and you don't like it, what are you going to do?
Change it.
Think something different. And that's what his whole next couple of chapters are on. Is all about the feeling body, the emotional self. Chapter 9 is called The Emotional Self and the Cause of Disease. Have you ever known anyone that became ill and you could really tell that it was their attitude or their personality or something like that that you knew was a contributing factor to that illness?
Oh, yes.
Maybe some of us saw that in the mirror, that we could see that in holding a certain affect, we created something physical. And I know for me that very often when I physically get hurt, when I hurt myself out of the blue with nobody helping, I just do it to myself, there was a mental state, a feeling state before that happened. Before I stubbed my toe, before I hit my head, before something happened. Usually I'm upset and I'm not paying attention to my surroundings. That's one way that it happens. But how else does it happen? Linda.
Being sure that because everybody has a cold, you're gonna get a cold.
Being sure that because everyone else has a cold, you're going to get a cold. So that would be a fearful state. Then creating reduced immune system and acceptance of the fallacy of germs, and into your body it goes. Susan.
Oh, it's part of the aging process.
No,
Which
that's
somebody told
what
me,
did you say?
somebody, a doctor, 2 doctors actually told me that, and inside I was going, la, 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 la.
Well, they say our bodies are supposed to go 300 years easy. So aging, I guess we're all getting into like elementary school.
yeah.
I mean, and then there are people.
We're right there with Kieran. So he talks about that the physical body is only part of your physicalness, and that there's another body. Ernest calls it the mental atmosphere that you have all around you. It's an energy. Fenwick calls it a feeling body. But it is very much here. Even though you can't see it, you can feel it. Other people can feel it. When you come into a room and you're in a funk, people can feel it. When you come into a room and you're high as a kite, people can feel it. So there's an energy around you, and what his point is that it affects our physical body. Because he's talking about the emotional self and the cause of disease. So he says that this is a very subtle body. And that the important thing to know about it is that it both transmits and receives influences. Drew.
Well, with amputees, they have phantom pains. That I forget this type of scope that they use, but you can cut a leaf and see its energy pattern.
Right.
You can put someone's hand.
Tyrian photography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Brilliant photography.
yeah.
It's gotta help.
I mean,
Right.
it's more than just feeling it. It's there. There's scientific something to back it up.
Oh yeah. You can use dowsing rods and douse it. People can take photographs of it using photographic plates that take more subtle energy fields than the hard, fast physicalness of it, but we all can feel it. You can feel it with the person next to you. Just close your eyes for a minute. You have to zoom farther away, but just take a breath and tune into the person next to you. Pick anybody in the room. You pick me. And feel their presence. There is a presence to everyone. And you don't have to see their body, you don't have to be touching them, but you can feel them. Did you feel them? Open up your eyes. You can feel them. We can all feel that presence. It's real. So he's saying that it's important to remember that this energy feeling body around us gives out information. Gives out information saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. I'm so glad you came to class. I love doing this. Thank you for not making me talk to an empty room. Thank you. And it receives information. Like Linda's saying, there's something going around, there's illness going around. Have you ever gone to stay with your biological family and gotten sick?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think that's about?
Every time.
Our energy is clashing.
So your energy is clashing. Your energy is clashing with something, with their beliefs, with their words, with their actions, with their food, whatever. Your energy field is not happy and comfortable.
That's right.
And because of your energy field, your physical body then reacts by getting sick, right? When my son, pretty much most of his life, when school would start, he would go to school the first day and come home and get sick. And he would do that every year because this was the day when you spent the summers hanging. You know, it wasn't unusual to spend all day in the summer in your pajamas or your underwear or watching TV, not doing anything, no pressure, no structure, as opposed to children today who probably are relieved to finally get back to school and take a break. But his sense of self was so onslaughted by going to school that he would always, every year, come home and get sick. And that was his way of reacting to his energy field. And so what we want to do is we want to be mindful not only of what we're putting out, and I encourage you to put out good vibes. If you're driving down the road and everybody's crazy, put out some good vibes. Throw some love balls at people. You know, be the change you wish to see in the world. Bring the light on. I encourage you to do that. But also be very mindful of what's coming into your space. You know, when you find someone fall in love, get married, and you go, oh, I finally found somebody that I fit with. That's your energy field that you fit with, you connect with. And that is a very precious thing to have in your life, to be able to live where your energy field is safe and supported and can be healthy, because that affects your physical body. It affects all kinds of things, but right now we're just talking about your physical body. So he says that your energy field, your feeling body will take in ideas unless you tell it not to. So how are you going to tell your subtle energy body form that is not hard and fast, that I don't know that it has ears, although it does absorb and accept ideas and feelings that are going on around it, how do you tell it not to take in an idea?
Give it other ideas.
Yeah, give it other ones to focus
Give it
on.
other ideas, change your thought. Can you just actually say to yourself, I am not going to buy into that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to buy into that. That's not for me. Is anybody else cold?
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
It's humid or something.
So I am not going to buy into there. I'm not going to go there. We used to have a practitioner at this center named Hyacinth, and she'd moved away somewhere to the northwest. But she would be in the middle of a conversation, and all of a sudden she would say, "Whoa, wait a minute, back up." You remember that? And so you would have to back the conversation up. She did that in class a number of times. Back the conversation up to the point where she didn't like where it was going. And so it would change. And I've often thought, you know, if we get a sense, what's wrong? What is happening? Remember we talked about going to the mall and seeing if there was some kind of something that you picked up that wasn't yours?
Yep.
Maybe that's what I had you do last week. But if you get a sense that there's not something right with you, that you are not comfortable, not safe, not happy, then to look at yourself and say, "Whoa, wait a minute, back up." You can rewind what happened and see where you got angry, got frustrated, got afraid. Where did you go awry? And then you can revisit that and go, well, I don't have to give up my security and happiness just because this person is having a bad day. I don't have to let go of what I want just because this other person doesn't have what they want. I am my own self. And then you move into these ideas of affirmation and clarity and thinking a new thought and setting your course correct. Now he says that's different from denials, and he's going to talk about denials in the next chapter. He is not a fan of denials at all. Ernest was a fan of denials, and I'm fascinated with Fenwick because he says as soon as you deny it, you have made it real.
True.
And that's true because the universe does not understand no.
Right on.
The universe doesn't get a no. So if I go, I do not, I cannot, I should not, then the not is vanished. I do, I could, I should. That's what goes out into the creative process. In an infinite, remember. I'm going off camera. Here we go. In an infinite, you cannot have something that is not. So remember, this is the circle that has no circumference, whose center is everywhere. In an infinite, you cannot have something that doesn't exist. You cannot, because then there is the infinite and this something else. And as soon as you have the infinite and something else, something that doesn't exist, then you have duality and you have everything falling apart. So you cannot look at something and go, there is no pain. All you're doing is going pain, pain, pain. So he recommends what you do is you kind of work with yourself a little bit and tell yourself, I don't have to jump into this pain. I don't have to do this. Now I know there's still a I don't, a no in there, but it's not no pain, no pain, no pain. He's saying I don't have to do this. I can walk easily and comfortably. I can have this work out. And then you start moving into your more clear, new thoughts. Everything's all right. I don't have to freak out. I'm safe. Everything's going to work out. I know that I'm abundant. I know that I'm prosperous. I know that I always have more than enough. I know that I'm loved by the universe. And see how you kind of work yourself up into that? But a lot of people back 100 years ago were just all about the denials. They were very dramatic with the whole thing. And they would, stand and say it out loud and hold their arms up in the air as they denied the quote-unquote evil. You can't have evil in an infinite universe. All you can have is spirit. So they would deny this thing that they didn't like. Just because they didn't like it, they called it evil. I think some people did that to me as a kid. They would deny it, and then it wouldn't go away. And there was a lot of willpower being used in that process. Do you see how that is like willing it to go away? You go away, you go. So he's saying you don't really want to do denials. You can work with yourself a little bit. I know that there really isn't such a thing as germs. I know that my body is made out of health itself. I know that there's a wisdom and an intelligence in every cell in my body that knows just what to do. I know that I am loved and safe and healthy, and it's okay if I just lay here for a few days. There's nothing wrong with that. I can do that and let my body catch up to where I am. He's saying, bring yourself along a little bit instead of drawing these hard and fast lines of disease is neither person, place, or thing, you know, get thee behind me, Satan kind of thing. And now I must demonstrate health and wholeness right here and right now. He's saying, just give yourself a little bit of ease to get a foot in the door. He doesn't say that, this is Barbara. He's saying, get a foot in the door of your thoughts and your feelings. And then he says, you know, all you have to do is feel good, feel well, to be well. And I remember Brian Biro teaching me that if you're not feeling well, he had a guaranteed process. That first of all, you get up out of bed. You stand up straight and tall. You lift your head up, you smile, and you move. He said that very act is a neuro-linguistic programming technique that will break a fever. It will change the thought process of laying there going, oh my God, I'm so sick. And it will allow you to move out of any disease much more quickly. So what we want to do is change the way we feel, even if we're faking it till we make it for a while. Get up, put a smile on our face, hold our head up, 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 and move our body a little bit. And that tells the body that we're healthy and that everything is great and all is well. And I have done that and then laid back down again and kind of waited till the dizziness passed and then gotten up and done that again. But it does help change that experience because you're giving yourself instructions that you're well, that you're happy, that you're moving through life, that everything is working out well. And he is saying that that feeling body is going to listen. So if we tell our body that we're sick, the body's going to listen. And people can talk themselves into being sick. You know, you have one little sneeze and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I must have the flu, and is it type A or type B or 1 or 2 or whatever it is, and I need to start canceling things, and before you know it, they're in bed with the flu because that feeling body listens. More so though, I find it when we're in an environment that we don't like. And that's one reason I am such a difficult teacher when it comes to I'm not a difficult teacher, that's some people's perception of me. I'm such a clear teacher when it comes to not allowing our emotions to be triggered by any person, place, or thing, by any event, whether it is an earthquake that goes off and we move into fear, whether it is a political situation and we move into anger and upset, whether it is the dog barking next door and we decide all of a sudden we want to be a gun owner and get violent. Whatever it is that triggers us, it's really important to be aware of that because our physical body is listening to our emotional body. And if we go around angry and upset, it's going to take its toll on our physical body. Is anybody a fan of Louise Hay?
Yes.
So, did I talk about this a couple of weeks ago in here?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I've got Tuesday night class, I've got Sundays, I've got people. So when you're all constricted and tight, what does that do?
Gives you
Tension.
tension headaches.
Yeah,
Locks
shuts
me up.
things-
Gives
yeah,
you
shuts
tension,
down.
headaches, what?
Shuts things.
Shuts things down.
Yeah.
What does Louise Hay say that is?
Constipation.
Constipation? She says it's arthritis. That holding on. What, Michelle? Yeah, holding on. He says that emotions can put physically a poison in your body. And I believe that.
Oh, yeah.
That through our complex chemistry system inside of our body that we can build up deposits on nerves and bones. I think we create certain things, but we do it through our emotions. There are different types of tests to see if you're going to get a heart attack, to see if you're going to have stress-related diseases, to see if you're laid back and you're gonna live forever. There, and you get called a type A personality, a type B personality, and type A personalities tend to have what? Heart attacks. Type A personalities seem to have heart attacks, cause oh my God, they gotta go, they gotta do it, they gotta do it. And they do it and do it until their heart says, no, we're done doing it. And it's interesting because people who have had open heart surgery, has anybody had open heart surgery in here? People who have had open heart surgery, the cardiologists will sit the family down and say, you are not getting the same person back that you had before the surgery. They will cry, they will be emotional, little things will upset them like never happened. And why is that? They had their heart chakra cut wide open. And so here you've got this rough and tumble type A personality person, and then they have bypass surgery or whatever, and they go home and they're crying over the coffee commercials because they had something changed in their state. Michelle.
I'm a type A, and it's something I have to channel, and I do a lot of fitness and running and things to clear my mind and not be so, But I had a, not open heart surgery, but I had a snowboarding accident 8 years ago where I had brain bleeds. And it really taught me that I can't control everything. Because
Right.
it was just, you can't multitask, and so that was my, I still struggle with being a type A. I'm not cured, but it was an experience that kind of woke me up to, hey,
Well,
you
this
know,
is
you
a
can't
good-
do it all. You
This is a
can't.
good place for you because you learn how to let go and trust and have faith in what is yours to do, because there is a lot that is ours to do and what is not ours to do. You know, we can plant the seed, but we don't call forth life. The life is already there. You're a snowboarder?
No, I wouldn't call myself a snowboarder. I was more of a water skier, wakeboarder, and was
Oh,
snowboarding in Montana. So.
You thought since you could water ski, you could
Oh yeah.
snowboard. I've been watching the snowboarders in the Olympics. They're amazing. You know, there's just,
Snow's a little bit harder when you hit it.
water's pretty hard when
It
you go
can be,
fast. Yeah, I've fallen skiing. Yes. Drew.
I didn't have open heart. I had an ablation, a complex ablation, which is zapping nerves that, and I still hold the record in the Macon Heart Tower for longest on the table, 8.5 hours.
For the what?
For an operation in my heart for 8.5 hours. They couldn't bring me back out of the sedation. They had to let me come back on my own because it was just, so it does kind of rearrange you a bit. And I think that's probably when I really started really consciously on my path.
Wonderful.
Because you
Maybe
feel
you're a
different
walk-in.
things. You feel different things. And it's like, oh my God, am I, you know, you watch things or you see something on TV and it's like, oh my God, am I?
I watch things, I see
Well,
things.
but I felt like maybe, I don't know, maybe I was ovulating or something. I was just like, it was so weird in some instances that it's like, and it just comes out.
Yeah,
And I'm
that's
like,
wonderful.
whoa,
I think you needed a little estrogen.
oh yeah. Got some.
No, you don't get to take someone else's. So he says, your conscious mind is the guard of your emotional body, your feeling body. And one of the things that I've had trouble with people here is telling them that their feelings are their choice. And when you're in the midst of it, I'll grant you, it's hard just to say, oh, I guess I won't feel that anymore. In the midst of a divorce, of a bankruptcy, of an eviction, repossession, stock market falling, something like that, or a diagnosis of a physical problem, it's not that easy to just say, well, my feelings are my choice, so I'm gonna just start feeling something else. But I guarantee you it's really important that you do that. Because when you can get hold of your feelings and shift them, everything in your life changes. Because remember last week we talked about a thought plus a feeling equals an action. And so we want to bring into our thoughts the feelings that are going to support them, not the feelings that are going to sabotage them. If you're thinking a thought that says, oh, I'm prosperous, and you're feeling, I can't pay my rent, oh my God, then what is going to happen to your, oh, I'm prosperous thought? It'll go away. It's certainly not going to demonstrate at the level that you want it to. And so to practice what you're feeling, like what we did in the beginning of class, just a little bit, saying, this is so great, this is so bad, this is so great, this is so bad, not necessarily to bring you down to bad, but to practice lifting yourself up. You know, when we do the happy dance, yay, it's a happy dance. Every celebration should have a happy dance. Hey, I just got a cup of coffee, yay, happy dance, yay. Practice lifting your state up, practice being happy, practice generating that kind of a feeling, and then when you think that thought and feel that feeling over and over and over again, it becomes organic, it becomes a habit. And what we want to do is we want to be in control of our state and our self. And when we do that, we are much more able to create the things that we want to create. Does that make sense? I love his language. On page 69, he says, for him who lives by conscious choice, life is destiny. For him who lives by chance, life is fate. I put it on Facebook. I love this so much. To the person who lives by conscious choices. I did. I posted that this afternoon when I was getting ready for class because I thought it was fantastic. This is fantastic. If you live by conscious choice, you will demonstrate your destiny. If you live by chance, it's going to be like fate. You'd be just like a leaf floating around, bumping into houses and trees and being trampled on. You'll be one of the ordinary, one of the normal. We are not normal. We are amazing, magnificent spiritual beings, and to actualize that and manifest that, we have to bring some conscious choice into the mix. Drew?
Why didn't the whole movement just lead with Fenwick? You know, it just.
Because Ernest had the institute.
It's just, Fenwick is just
He's
right
great.
there. You know, right there with you. You're like, oh, that it, the thing. Yes, you said it. Yes, it. You know.
So I want to actualize my destiny. And it's not just going to happen. It's not just going to drop in my lap. I have to exercise choice. I have to have awareness. I have to be mindful of not only what I'm thinking, but what I am feeling to be able to create what I want to create in my life. Which means I have to master myself. I have to first start off by mastering my thought. And we often do that by mastering our speech. And so we listen to what we say. And even go so far as to ask those around us that love us to listen to what we say. A fantastic experiment is to ask the people around you what they think you say. Do you think I'm a positive person? Am I a complainer? I asked John that about a year ago. He said, oh yeah, you complain all the time. I said, I do not. I have to listen to this all the time that I'm complaining. You don't get how I'm starting to complain. Yeah. But that's after 40 years. So go ahead and ask the people who know you. Are you positive? Are you a complainer? Are you angry? What comes out of your mouth? And that is often a wake-up call for people to start being mindful of what they say, which is simply a reflection of what they think. And when you start learning how to think and learning how to feel, you start harnessing this power of creation that really is amazing, to where we can say, I am the point of creation of spirit, individualized at the point of me right here and right now. And you can look at any circumstance or condition and know that it doesn't have anything on you. Because I am the point of creation of all of spirit right here and right now. And no matter what that is, if I created it, I can create something different. Without the fear, without the process, without all of the work and the effort involved, to be able to learn how to think, to learn how to speak, and to learn how to feel opens up those doors of the creative process wide, and you can really make some magic happen when you're in that state. When you're feeling something that you don't want to live, you are at odds with yourself. And when Sandra gets at odds with other people, she gets sick. So what's going to happen if you're at odds with yourself? Oh, I'm prosperous, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm whole. Oh my God, everything's falling apart. I'm so afraid. You're at odds with yourself. And at some level, you've got to come up with a little chutzpah and get a hold of yourself and say, I will not allow those feelings to rule me anymore. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to live in fear anymore. I remember there was a point in my life when I said I would rather go ahead and die than to have to live in this level of fear. So I'm going to go ahead and go for it. And if I fall on my face, if I lose what little I have, if I die, so be it. But I will not live this life any longer. I think that was when I left my first husband. I won't live this life any longer. I will find it within myself to get a hold of the way that I feel, a hold of the way that I see myself in the world, and I will change it. And then the doors of creation open wide, and we get to have this incredible power that now we're aware of using and direct it toward how we want it. So when we can learn how to speak, learn how to think, and learn how to feel, we have got some package going on. And a lot of people, well, I meditate a lot. Well, that's great. But if what's coming out of your mouth, garbage in, garbage out in the world of computers, well, garbage out, garbage in, I guess, in the world of metaphysics, if what's coming out of your mouth is garbage, then that's what you're going to create in your life. So it's great that you meditate. It's great that you go to yoga and all of that stuff. There comes a time when we have to get a hold of our emotions and our feelings. And that means we can no longer harbor resentment against exes, the pharmaceutical companies, laws that we don't agree with, the dog next door, the dog in the house. We don't ever get to have that if we want to be the powerful creative beings that we want to be. And so getting a hold of that is critical. And I have seen people in this teaching, give these wonderful sermons and treatments and then go and just be jerks. Just like that. And I've marveled at it. This teaching doesn't give you the ability to do that because it's a whole package. You have to be the whole shebang to be able to have the life that you want. Otherwise, the feelings that you drag around or drag along are going to come back. No matter what you say, no matter how people think you're all holy and spiritual, if you're a jerk when you get off the stage, that's what your life is going to be. So we want to not be jerks. Not to ourselves, not to our beloveds, not to the world. We want to really get a hold of that. And I think the first way to do it is to listen to what we are saying and listen to what we're thinking and then seeing how that carries us down the road to having this feeling. If you have a feeling that you don't like, track it back. Pull a hyacinth. Whoa, wait a minute, back up. How did I get to where I was having a great day? And all of a sudden I'm not having a great day. What did I do inside of myself? Maybe there was an outer stimulus, but I'm the one who took that and created it into something that now I am living. How did I do that? You will have mastery in your life if you are able to learn how to do this. And Louise Hay built an entire career on this, of saying, feet problems or lack of understanding and back problems or burdens and constriction, is arthritis and all of that. And you know, she's right about a lot of that.
Yeah.
Because when you have a thought and a feeling, it will manifest in your life. Now, what he doesn't talk about is it will manifest in every area of your life. It's not only gonna manifest in your body, it'll manifest in your relationships. Has anyone ever been in relationships with someone who was angry? Did you stay there?
No.
No, you didn't stay there. There came a point where you realized for your own sanity that you had to get away, because that anger manifests. When someone is angry around you, it bumps into your energy field. It gets in there. And it takes quite the disciplined person to stay centered when someone is angry. When you're angry, it's even worse. And because of the law of attraction, and because anything in your life, you put it there, I'll say that again, anything that is in your life, you put it there, then chances are that you have the anger. And so that anger is going to affect your money. Anger does not go where, money does not go where anger lives. It's going to affect your relationships, your sense of intimacy and trust and love. It'll affect all of that. And so most people will have had it, I've had it, I'm gonna leave. And then sometimes that's very helpful, and sometimes all you do is take yourself with you into that other thing. But most people will try to get away from that energy. The fascinating thing is that if you can really clean it up inside of yourself, the other person will either leave or change. It's fascinating. You can be in a relationship with someone and be in a relationship with a different person because they changed into a different person. And they changed into a different person because you became the different person. And when you present as a different person, then they either have to come into alignment with that or run for the hills. Either way works. So when you're around that other energy, first of all, notice it. See what your thinking was that got you there. And then check yourself out and see what is it inside of yourself that you put there. And very often that's not a conscious thing. We deny, we suppress, and then we project, and then we blame. Michelle.
That same brain bleed, I didn't leave someone who was angry. They were more apathetic, but within 2 weeks of my brain bleed, I left a relationship, the person that I was on the trip with, and 2 months later I met my husband.
Yay!
Yeah. Yeah, so it was, you know, I always kind of joke, it took a head injury for me to realize what I wanted, but, you know, there was something good that came out of it. So.
Absolutely.
And I met a very caring, nurturing man, which was kind of the opposite. So.
Of the apathetic guy you
Yes.
were with, yes.
And he jokes, he's like, I took advantage of your brain bleed, but, you know.
Well, because things that happen on the outside are always effects and not causes. What must have happened is that you changed and you were no longer a match for the guy that you were on the trip with, and that demonstrated by some kind of a physical experience, and you had changed to where you were a match for Larry. Nice.
The morphine helped a little too.
God is in the
With the
morphine.
breakup.
God is in the morphine.
A little bit, yeah.
So back 100 years ago, they had this idea of being mindful, standing guard, watching out, being vigilant with your thoughts. And I'm very, very positive about that, as long as you don't turn yourself against yourself. As long as you don't take a sword out and start hacking yourself to pieces because you had a thought that the part of you that is an idealized image doesn't like. But he says the conscious self is the gatekeeper. So between your emotional body, your feeling body, and the world, the conscious self is the gatekeeper. And let's say you're going into a situation that you know might be uncomfortable. What can your conscious self do?
Know that I am safe and I'm exactly where I need to be. I'm in the right place.
So if you start feeling anxious, your conscious self can notice it and then start talking you down.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute, I'm safe here, there's plenty of ways for me to leave. Look, there's an exit right there, I'm safe, everything is okay, I'm in my perfect and right place, that kind of thing. Who else? What else? What can your conscious mind do?
Just be aware of what you're thinking and feeling.
You can be aware of what you're thinking and feeling, and then if you find your thoughts and feelings have gone awry, then what can you do? Change your
Thinking and feeling.
Attitude.
thinking and feeling, your attitude.
We
Do you
need to do reaction too. Like I can do like these major things. I can go through something really crazy and traumatic. But sometimes someone can not. Like just for an example, the other day I bought a bagel, and the lady just threw it up on the counter. You know, and I was like, "Is that mine?" I didn't know. But she didn't say whether it was mine or not. She gave me a really angry look, and I must have created that angry look. I don't know, but all I know is I reacted to it.
Did you
And
throw it at her?
no, but I did let her live in my head rent free for a few hours.
There you go, you let her live in your head rent free for a few hours.
And then what would a Brian Byro would have done? Of course he would have just loved that lady to death, right? So I need to be more, I should have, that opportunity, I couldn't rewind and go back to that, but I should have went,
You can in
thank
your
you so
head.
much, I hope you have a great
Let's-
day.
let's
And really
rewind.
mean it.
Okay, so here she throws the bagel at you, and
Yeah,
what do you
and gives
say?
me a really dirty look.
Okay, and then what do
And
you
I
say?
knew she was having a bad day.
No, stay with the rewind. What, so you know she's having a bad day, what do you say?
I just kinda didn't say anything.
No, what are you saying with the new rewind? You said I can't go back and do it again.
If
I'm saying, yes, you can.
If she would have done, if I would have been able to replay that again, I would have
Yes.
thanked her.
So thank me.
Thank you.
Here's your bagel.
You know, I could have smiled at her, right?
Yeah.
And joked around and been
Yeah.
light, yeah.
That'd get her
Yeah.
even angrier,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
Good for you, David.
But, you
You
know,
can go back and
Little
redo
things.
circumstances.
little thing.
Your subconscious mind does not have a sense of time because it is in the eternal now, and it only takes what is given to it. So your conscious mind is in charge. You let her live rent-free in your head for hours. Well, let her live in your head as a joy-filled, wonderful experience. I am so cool. I had somebody throw a bagel at me and give me a dirty look. I love the hell right out of them. Because I'm David Williams. I'm cool. I'm doing a great job. Have that going on in your head. Because you are at choice. Your
I know
conscious mind is the gatekeeper. And then your emotions, instead of going, "Arr," which is going to give you a stomach ache and all kinds of physical
did.
and financial problems, instead of that, you're all, hey, I'm cool, I'm open, I'm receptive, I'm feeling good, and so you are. And so someone else calls for another cleaning, so money falls out of the sky. All of a sudden, where your body was going this way, it goes, oh, no, we're good, it goes this way.
Right.
You are in charge, David. Drew.
That technique has proven to me and helped me so much.
Going back and redoing
I have
things?
redone things so much, a lot. And it's just, one side is like, you know, you're fooling yourself. No, shut up. You know, kind of thing. I don't really have that in my head, but it's like, you kind of get those thoughts. But yeah, reworking.
You, say
I,
thank
me,
you, don't lay
we,
that on me.
We, our, us, royal we.
So do you do that, I'll help you, Drew. Do you
Me.
do that at night before you go to sleep?
Well, sometimes,
That's
but,
an excellent technique.
um,
Before you go to sleep, check out your day, see where you
Yeah,
screwed
do a
up.
little inventory.
and,
Yeah, do a
yeah.
little inventory. And if you wanted it to be different, make it different. Put that in your noggin before you go to sleep.
Yeah, and it has made a lot of difference.
It
and it's
does
just-
make a lot of
It
difference.
literally, physically, everythingly, it like diffuses things. It's like, oh, and you don't have that stuff coming back. I don't have that stuff coming back up at me.
Good.
Like when with denials, I think they have their place if you follow them up with a ton of good stuff until you get to a level that you're getting this, the what you were talking about, to not have to use denials.
Right.
But that technique is kind of like a denial for me, is when I was using denials, it brought it up to look at myself watching this, or watching yourself thinking, right? So it's bringing
Me
it.
watching myself thinking.
Yeah, watching myself thinking.
Yes.
So I would bring it up and look at it, and it would put it in the forefront, and go, oh, it wasn't I was trying to put energy into it, but it helped me to bring things up.
That's the whoa, wait a minute, back up.
Right, yeah.
Go find the things that when things started to get out of control, when things started to go downhill, find that point and then redo it. And you can either redo it in time and space, or you can redo it in your head. It really doesn't matter. As long as you redo it, generate the new feeling that you want to have, think the thoughts that you want to have, take control of your life. Be the gatekeeper of what comes into your experience. Love yourself enough to be picky about what you let in. If you're going to go somewhere and you know you're not going to be terribly comfortable, but you're going to go anywhere, do a little work before you go. Set the stage. People who go into homes and they know that they don't like it, well, fill that home with light. Fill it with love before you go in. Bring yourself into alignment with a higher vibration. If you're going to go into a business meeting, or you think you're being called on the carpet, do some work. Don't just go in there like the sheep to the slaughter. Let yourself have some thoughts in reserve, some feelings in reserves. Fill up that room with it. Connect with those people. Love the hell out of them. And even if they say exactly the same thing, you have a different experience. You can use this energy and use these thoughts and these ideas to create a different reality. And these are some very basic how-tos. Shirley.
We were going into Sam's the other day, and you know how the people are there to try to sell you something as you go in?
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2 or 3 times
I've
I've gone in there and it irritated me that they're jump on you as soon as you go through the door. Jump on me.
Thank you.
As soon as I go through the door. So David's with me, and I told the girl said, "Let me see your wrist." I said, "No, thank you." You know, I said, "No." I was in a hurry. I was going on down through there, and she tried it again. "Let me see your." I said, "No." And after we got past, I was grumbling. Why did they have to do that? As I
You
come in the
grumbled
door.
all the way through the store, out the cash register.
But David,
Those who love us will tell us the truth.
so David
she
gave
is.
me a line to say to where they would go. He said, "Just say no, not now."
Mhm.
Yeah.
So next time I'm going to
That's,
say no, thank you, not now.
And have you ever taken advice from me?
And I can remember that one.
If you let someone who's just saying, "Let me see your arm," get in your head and irritate you, you can carry that irritation through the store, through the day, through your life. And so at some point, if you're not going to have that, you've got to take control of your life back. And the way that you do that is to generate a different feeling. And I love the concept of loving the hell out of someone or something, because it really works. You turn it into a wonderful experience.
Can you do it out loud or just quietly?
I don't care. As
I
long
mean,
as you
if
do it.
they-
I want your
like you
head
said,
to
if you
change.
do
I
confront
don't care
them,
what
that's
happens
fine.
with your
Yeah,
mouth.
but when
I
you're
want your
thinking,
head to change.
just send those thoughts, right?
Whatever,
They're
yeah,
not
sure,
around.
sure, because all you're doing is sending them to yourself.
Yes.
That other person
It's all
doesn't
an inside
exist.
job.
Surely you did that all by yourself.
That's right.
Susan,
I told a friend today that I finally booked my trip. I booked an airline, I booked a tour, and I'm going to England, and it's a dream trip, and I was so happy, and she said, "Oh, when are you going?" I said, "April." And she said, "Oh, no, no, you shouldn't go, you should change your trip immediately." And I said, "I really don't want to hear this. I really don't, thank you. But I've been to England 3 times in April, and 3 different times." And then she started giving me a list. You have to buy a pair of wellies and a slicker and a rainproof hat. And I said, "You know what, I really, really don't want to hear this. I really don't want to have this conversation." And I wasn't, did any of it seep in?
No, it rolled right off her head.
No, I mean, to me, did any of them seep in? Maybe.
of course course, I can see it right now.
Yeah. I mean, I was planning on bringing a little umbrella, but maybe I'll bring a, whatever. But I didn't want to be in that conversation.
You
And
don't
I
have to.
No, I didn't.
You don't have to, but I would go back and have that conversation again. You can make her say something else. Oh, Susan, that is so fantastic. I'm so happy for you. I know it's gonna be a wonderful trip.
I basically told her, I will have a wonderful trip.
Right, but you can go back in your
Oh, in my head
and
redo
replay it
I will do
to
that.
where she says, oh, Susan, that is so fantastic. I know you're gonna have a wonderful trip. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
And then that is the most recent thing that goes in your subconscious. So
Right.
take that. Don't leave all this other crap in there. Clean it out. Take charge. Linda, and then we're gonna break.
Well, I know technically we're not responsible for anybody else, but if you go through Sam's with this attitude, people are feeling that all the
Sure.
way through Sam.
Sure. You're not a light bearer if you're grumbling your way through Sam's. I love my own phrase. If you want to be on the spiritual path, you need to be spiritual on your path. I think I said that last week. It was brilliant. Let's take a break. Come on, Jane. Okay, this is the second half of the audio recording. Something happened to the first half. So he talks about brooding. Has anybody ever brooded?
Oh, yeah.
What is brooding? Oh, Fenwick says it's when women don't have enough to do. Jeez.
That male chauvinist pig.
Rent free.
It's giving people time in your mind rent-free. It's holding on to a thought that brooding by its very nature doesn't sound like something you want to have.
No.
It's not obsessing on joy, it's brooding. And what is it that happens when you hold a thought for a long period of time? Maybe a day, maybe a month, maybe a year, maybe a lifetime. What happens when you hold that thought?
Becomes a part of you. I think it's
You birth it.
difficult for me to differentiate and separate the thought from me. I just absorb it.
So you absorb the thought, you become the thought, and then what happens when you become a negative thought? It manifests. It manifests. I used to tell people who would come to me with prosperity issues that every time they got upset about something, they might as well take $100 out of their pocket and set it on fire. Because you just lost it. That got their attention.
Yeah, I bet.
And then sometimes I would look at them and they're in here complaining about something, I just go. You're just burning your money in your mind because you're holding on to a negative thought. You don't want to do that, but so many people, like Susan said, it just becomes a part of you. You don't realize that you have that thought, especially if you grew up with that thought. Well, that's just the way you think. You complain, you criticize, you blame, and because that's all you're ashamed, you feel less than. So you don't even know that there's something wrong with that thinking. Like Archie Bunker never knew that there was anything wrong with the way that he thought, right? That was what was so funny about that show. David.
Well, I think my son says that a lot of people are addicted to negative stress.
It's true. It's true. When you have negativity in your life, you have a biochemical reaction. Your brain gets triggered off not in the frontal cortex, but in the limbic brain, fight or flight. You have a reaction in your system that releases adrenaline into your body, and you get high. There is a high from all of that. Your heart beats and you get a rush, and people can become addicted to that. We call them drama queens because they are addicted to it.
Who's
So
it for?
we might have to go through some withdrawals to not be broody and moody and negative and cranky and somebody that nobody wants to be around. Check out how many times you've been married. Maybe it's not them, maybe it's you. He says that one thing to do, and again I love this languaging, he says that if your mind is fastened to sorrow,
It smells wonderful.
you know, and now Candace Pert's doing all of these books on if it fires together, it's wired together, that literally the neurons in our brain fasten to a particular feeling. And here he is, Fenwick Holmes, 100 years ago, saying, if your mind is fastened to sorrow, one of the things that you can do is to go and be in service to others. That it breaks that. It makes you feel not sorry for yourself. It makes you feel good that you're doing something for someone else. That, I think, is what Linville is doing. She said, I went to see her Friday, and she said, I need to be in service. You know, it's been 2 months of her being very caught up in this whole physical process of being run over by a car. And she said, I need to be in service to people.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why yesterday I mentioned if anyone wants a full practitioner session, not a 1-minute miracle, not a couple of minutes, a full session, call the number on the back of the program and make an appointment to see her so that she can be in service and pull herself out, put herself back into that right mindset and remind her brain of how it's supposed to think. What are you fastened to? He says fastened to sorrow. Are you fastened to failure? Are you fastened to fear? Are you fastened to anger? Are you fastened to complaining? Are you fastened to blame? Are you fastened to beating yourself up, to shame? What are you fastened to? And what can you do, actually do, to break that connection? Because it's a cycle of thinking and feeling and thinking and feeling, and it'll kill you. And I just won't mince words. It will kill you. It will build up in your body. It will create circumstances in your life that outpicture that. You don't want to do that. You are in charge. He says that we are children of choice. We are the ones in charge of what we're feeling and what we're thinking. So pick out something that you may be fastened to, throw it out in the room. What? You want me to say something? Yes. Michelle.
Mine's fear, and Brene Brown, this life-changing term for me is called foreboding joy. And what I'll do is I'll look at my son and I'll be like, he's like the sweetest, I love him so much, and I'm
So it's like a rampage of appreciation with Abraham.
But then I start thinking, you know, oh my gosh, what if something happened to him? I completely take away that feeling of joy. I do it to myself.
Right, so how do you get out of the
I
fear?
recognize it and say, what the heck are you doing? You need to enjoy this moment. You
Whoa,
deserve
back
to
up.
enjoy this moment.
And then
with
do
your
you?
son. Yes, I do.
All right,
I
you are
back out of
master
it.
of your fate.
But I didn't really, until I could see it and name it, I guess, it helped me understand what I was doing and not to take that.
Right,
away
so
from
you would
me.
be all loving on Kieran, and then you'd go, oh my God, what if something happens to him? And then you would go into the pits, and then you'd go, wait a minute, back up, what are you doing? Pull yourself out, think a new thought, feel a new feeling, and be back on top. That is mastery. That is mastery. And it's something that we don't teach kids.
That's right. The Indians used to teach the kids to just do, you know, and that's how they would learn. And a lot of times they would hurt themselves. One movie in particular, The Education of Little Tree.
I love that.
And his mom, you know, he's chopping wood, and he was with his grandpa, and he swinging that axe around, wham! And you know, he came down on his nearest foot, and grandma about lost it. But they were teaching the way and letting them do.
And then dealing with their feelings after they learned from their own mistakes.
Yes.
So what we're talking about is being in control of your thoughts and your feelings. And what you're saying is they didn't instill in him fear as a child.
Right.
So he was way ahead of the game because he knew that, yeah, he could chop his ankle and he'd still be okay. So what we want to do is look at what we are what did he call it? Fastened to. What else are you fastened to? Susan?
It's also fear of being sick, which I interpret as being out of control of my body.
Fear of being out of control by being sick, and what do you do?
Well, I'm just coming out of a phase of that right now, and I went to one doctor and I didn't like what they said, and then I went to an acupuncture and I did like what she said. But my faith and my belief in this practice and my own history is now strong enough that I know that this will pass. There's some part of me now that knows that this will pass.
And have you invested time and energy into developing that faith?
Oh my God.
So you come to a place like this center, you read books, you talk to people who are not caught up in that fear, you give yourself different input. Because remember, the feeling body, the emotional body, not only puts out but takes in, and your conscious mind, is the gatekeeper of that's coming in. So you go, no, I don't like you, doctor. I'm going to go to a different doctor. I'm not going to let that in. I'm going to continue to study and expose myself to people who are healthy and have had situations in their body that got better. You were born to heal. And in doing that, you're affecting change.
Yeah, a doctor last week said basically there's no cure, suck it up. I mean, he didn't say suck it up. He said, well, in about 3 weeks you'll get used to it. 3 months you'll get used to it. And I think that's not good enough. I mean, there's Barbara.
So you tell yourself that's not good enough, I can have better, and then you go out to find it. Good.
Yes.
What else do you have that you are fastened to?
I'm a complainer.
So you're fastened to complaining, to seeing what's
Yeah.
wrong. And how do you change that, David?
I will not feed into this book, especially the last chapter, mirroring 9 and 10. It just keeps reawakening me. I come to this all the time, and so what do? I don't participate in whatever it is that's messing me up. And
So you consciously pull
yeah,
yourself
like
out.
really, I quit watching the news 2 years ago.
Oh, there you go. You stop watching the
Okay,
news.
so
Okay.
but I'll go back to it, because I'm feeding into the drama.
Oh, it's
and then I'll
so
go to
tempting.
the internet
Bright
news, and then I'll go
lights
back to
and color
mainstream
and
news,
noise.
and then before you know it, I'm checking my phone like 7 times, in 3 or 4 hours, and I'm going,
Right.
what am I doing here?
Okay, so you are addicted to complaining, and when you find yourself, not addicted, you are fastened to complaining, and when you find yourself doing that, you notice that you've been watching the news and you stop.
Yes.
I want some
I
actions here.
stop watching the news.
A mind fastened to sorrow comes out of it by being in service to others. So I want some
Yes.
action steps that people can take. What do you do when you feel like, well, I'm just getting old and I don't have any energy anymore? What do you do when you're fastened to that way of seeing yourself?
Get a younger girl.
Take a nap.
What else?
I take an inventory of my abilities and my strengths and my blessings
And do you go do something?
yeah, I go do something. I take a walk and I write gratitude lists.
Right, so you move into gratitude and you take a walk. If I start to feel like I don't have any energy, I go do something that takes a lot of energy, because my trigger is, no, you can't. Oh yeah? Watch me. So if I start feeling like, well, gee, Barbara, 6 months you're gonna be 65 and that's old, you might as well slow down. It's like, screw that.
Yeah.
I am Barbara Waterhouse. I will go and do something. And
Good
then I
for
go
you.
do something. Who had their hand up? Anna.
I don't let that take power over me.
Good.
Today I wanna come, say, oh, I have to drive, I drive this all day, and I say, this one, no, this is not.
Good.
I wanna be there.
Good. So you are fastened to thinking, this is just too much. I've been driving all day. That's what I do for work, and now I've got to drive. How long does it take you? An hour and a half?
Yeah.
One way to get here, to come to class.
Wow.
Whoa.
So, no, this is what I want to do. It was like Jen Omen, the morning that it was icy a couple of weeks ago, and I'm posting, it's only rains, just rain, people, just rain. Well, she said, no, in her house it was ice, And she went out to get in her car and slipped
Well,
and fell and went inside and said, well, I guess I'm not going to the center. And she said, oh no, wait a minute, I will do what I wanna do. And she's got those
yeah.
ski poles and, you know, she's working to get herself somewhere. And she showed up. She showed up because she took action. I have people so often come to me and they say, I don't have enough. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough opportunity. My life is filled in lack and limitation, and so they are fastened to that idea of not enough. And what I ask them is, where are they giving? Go find some place to give something.
There's a chapter in the Bible called James, and it says, faith without debt.
Faith without works is dead.
So
Right.
that's basically, I took it from a non-denominational church when I used to go to one. And I've always been involved with something like John offered the door position for me, or the prosperity, and that's why, because of that verse.
You have to give.
When you give to someone else, like even greeting at the door, you get out of yourself.
Oh yeah.
And whatever problems you have just disappear just because you're greeting people at the door.
If you're in a funk, go someplace where you can help.
Yes.
I don't care where it is. Center for Spiritual Living Asheville is great,
house.
but anywhere that you can help, go next door and say, I've got a little time. Don't tell them you're in a funk. Is there something I can do to help? And you'll pull yourself out, because you'll go from not enough to more than enough so that you have to give of whatever you're giving. And you will change the way that you are experiencing life. Creative mind will then be acted upon by that impression of thought and feeling, and it will manifest in the outer state of your life. David.
Yeah, Shirley is a perfect example of that. She treats for so many people, and it gets her out of her own funk all
Right.
the time. I see it helps her more than it helps some.
That's what every
people
practitioner
she
says.
treats.
It helps me more than it helps them.
Yeah,
Right.
so that's
Where you're signing up for the website treatment.
just by
We get
giving.
website treatments in almost every day. Every day, they rotate through the practitioners.
Just for that reason, I'd want to be a practitioner. When I retire, I may do that.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Only ourselves keep our good from us, and only ourselves draw our good to us. It is not going to swoop down from heaven through Publishers Clearinghouse or any other way unless it comes from you. It comes from you. You bring that into your life, and you bring your good in from a consciousness of good and greater good, meaning you have more than enough. So if you want more good in your life, you got to start giving good away. Take flowers to somebody. Go shovel somebody's sidewalk. Carry somebody's groceries. Open the door. You know, just simple things.
Yes.
Do something to give that good out, and watch how greater good comes into your life, because it didn't come into your life from somewhere else. You put it there. Everything in our lives we put there. So if you want greater good in your life, put greater good out and watch it come back into your life. It's kind of simple, although I'll grant you not always easy. He talks about having the contagion of disease. And he talks about, what about the contagion of good health? The contagion of well-being. Are you familiar with that?
Happens
Yes.
here.
It happens here.
Yeah.
Be contagious.
Yes.
What was that Hafiz poem? I caught something while I was out in the field last night singing to the stars. I caught happiness when I was out in the field last night singing to the stars. It's very contagious. Come kiss me. Yeah.
Love that.
Oh,
Little
sweet.
Hafiz poem. Yes. So you have something here. Be contagious. Be positive when someone's negative. Be nice when someone's cranky. Be generous when life seems to be pulling things away from you. Be what you want to have and give it out there, and watch how it spreads in your family. It spreads in your friends. It spreads in your block of your neighborhood. It spreads in your car going down the road. My goodness, just pausing and telling someone it's okay to come over is amazing. It just, everybody just takes a breath. Oh, we're not in a death race here. We've got enough so that we can move around and be okay. And you did that. You changed energy, you changed consciousness by how you put it out there because of what you were thinking and what you were feeling. If you were thinking there's not enough, if you were feeling anger and someone wanted to get in the lane in front of you, you would not have let them in. If you're thinking that all is well in my world, if you're feeling generous and abundant, someone wants to get in front of you and you go, sure, come on. Do you see the difference? This stuff is in real live circumstances, real live actions that we are putting into our world. Instead of some airy-fairy, just metaphysical mumbo-jumbo, this is about how to live and what to do. He says, disease is simply the image of wrong thinking sustained in consciousness until the deformed creation takes place. Any disease is just wrong thinking sustained in consciousness, moody beliefs, holding on, thinking, well, that's just the way that I am. No, you are the way that you are because you have chosen to be that way. And you can be any way you want. There's no one outside of you saying, you have to be this way and you have to be that way. No, it's always our choice by how we see the world, by what we say, by what we think, what we do, and what we feel. He says that health is the right image acted upon, sustained in consciousness until the healthy image or the healthy creation takes place. So if you want to have that, keep it sustained in consciousness. People come in and they say, oh, I've had this thing for 20 years, but I want you to give me an affirmation. Have me say it, and then I can walk out and never have it again. You're going to need to have that thought sustained in consciousness to where it demonstrates. And sometimes that's fast, and sometimes it's process.
But it's still a mold.
It's a mold. It's a mold. It is. Wasn't that brilliant?
I love that.
It is a mold because everybody
The
left
mold
thinking about Jell-O.
Yeah.
And sometimes people leave and they go, I don't know what she said, but boy, it was fun. I want you to know what I said. He says, whatever most fills the mind will most govern the destiny. Whether it be high or low, good or bad, we make our way through the world. We build our heaven or hell. We crawl or soar. We sink or swim by the choice of the thoughts that daily swarm in the throne room of mind. The thoughts that daily swarm in the throne room of mind. And he's saying that mind is on the throne. Mind is the one that is taking all of those thoughts and creating them. What kind of a swarm do we have? If someone could take a snapshot of our thoughts, what would be swarming? It's not the random thought, one here or one there. It's the swarm of them, the repetitive thoughts, the beliefs that we don't even know that we're thinking, the thought that just is so commonplace that we don't notice it anymore. That's why I said ask your friends. Ask those who love you. What do I talk about? Do I complain? Am I negative? Am I positive? What do you think? And they will tell you. And then you can see what is swarming, because that is what governs our destiny. I want to govern my destiny consciously. I don't want to let other people do it. I don't want to let the news do it. I don't want to let other drivers do it. I don't want to let the person in Sam's govern my destiny. I want to govern my destiny, which means that I have to be the one that watches what comes into my emotional self. And one of the ways I do that is to check myself out regularly. How are you feeling? Well, you know, I was high as a kite about an hour ago, and now I'm just seething. Well, what happened? Back up, change it, flip it, make it different. Go back to being high as a kite. Because you can get higher on your emotions, and the resulting chemical experiences in your body than you ever can on drugs. Drugs are simply trying to mimic the natural chemicals in your body. So get yourself high. Feel good, be happy, jump up and down, smile, sing, dance, and watch how great you feel with no hangover and no trouble with the law. So in the next chapter, chapter 10, he uses the example of the soil being creative mind. And he uses that example for a number of reasons. First of all, the soil will take whatever you give it. It doesn't matter if the farmer plants soybeans one year and tomatoes another. The soil isn't going to say, oh, I love my soybeans, man. They put nitrogen in my soil. They were an easy grow. I love the way their little tendrils danced in the wind. Ah, these tomatoes. They're taking everything I've got. They're putting little sticks in there, and people are coming by to harvest them. This is a hard year. The soil does not say that. The soil simply, no, we say that. The soil simply takes what is given it and grows it. The soil has no judgment on what you put in it. It doesn't say, oh my God, this is a genetically modified burpee seed. Don't you know that there are organic seeds to be had, and this has some kind of a coating on it that I'm sure is just not good for me. The soil doesn't say that. The soil takes whether it's a weed seed that fell from a bird's poop, or whether it's a highly expensive rose cutting that you're putting in the soil, and it gives it all that it can. And the seed has everything that it needs to come forth into full growth because it has life. We talked about the first night. So the soil is like, creative mind is like the soil in that it will give to that idea seed all that it's got. It doesn't hold back. It doesn't say, you know, we had a drought last year, so I'm going to hold my moisture back. It doesn't do that. It just gives and gives and gives. And it does it without judgment. So if we were to plant a seed of discord, not that any of us would do that, do you think the soil would say, wait a minute, this isn't a good idea. You've been going to Barbara's classes. You know better than this. You know that if you plant a seed of discord, it's going to grow a plant of problems. Don't do that. Does it say that? It just takes it. And if you decide not to plant that seed of discord, or to pull out the roots of the plant of problems, boy, I'm on a roll, then, and put something else in there, seeds of joy and love and happiness and health and wholeness, does the soil say, wait a minute, I was really doing good on that plant of problems. I had the roots all growing, I had some stems coming out. Does the soil do that? No. So get this. You live in a universe of energy and vibration of creative power. It is called, in this instance, creative mind. It takes whatever you give it and will bring it into your life. It doesn't care whether it's going to totally screw everything up. It will bring it. It's not that, oh, I live in a spiritual universe and it's only going to bring spiritual things of love and peace and joy. It doesn't do that. It simply creates. And it is up to you. The only thing you've really got right now is your conscious awareness to get a hold of your thinking, to get a hold of your feelings, to get a hold of your words and your actions in life. It takes whatever you put in it. So if you want a life of happiness and joy, you're going to have to put some happiness and joy in the soil of creative mind and grow it. If you want friends, you're going to have to give friendship out into the world so that creative mind can grow that and bring it back into your experience. If you want to harvest, you have to plant. And not only do you have to plant, since we're going in the harvest harvest analogy, you gotta pull some rocks out and some weeds out and some thoughts out that have gotten a foothold because you did turn on the news, because you did go somewhere where they just did something you didn't like and you weren't paying attention, you're going rah, 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 rah. You've got to pull some of the weeds out. You've got to pull some of the rocks out. You've got to do something to tend your harvest. How do those people get prosperous? Well, they get prosperous because they planted the heck out of their field and they tended it. They didn't just sit back and watch soap operas and have everything show up in their life. They didn't badmouth people. They didn't plot against their neighbors. They didn't harbor feelings of ill will and then get wonderfulness. They put out wonderfulness to get wonderfulness. And if we do that, we have the power of the entire universe taking our little seed and bringing it forth. We don't have to do it. All we have to do is stick it in the ground. I mean, in some instances, they say, all you got to do is drop the seed and then leave. Just like Johnny Appleseed, you know, he went on his way. Well, my experience of gardening is that you have to tend that a little bit. You've got to pull out some of the weeds because life happens. You've got to take care of it a little bit. But if you do that, you will get so much more than what you put into it. Because there is a creative power. In this analogy, it's dirt. Think about it as this energy that permeates, penetrates, and fills the intersections of the universe. It is what we are. We harness the creative power of everything. What are we planting? We're dealing with life. We are the God to our world. What are we putting out there? That is what we're going to get in. But get this, you have so much power operating on every thought, every feeling, every word, and every action in your life. Pay attention. Be mindful. Be discerning about what you let in and out of you. You don't have to go sit in a cabin and be a hermit. But think about it. Honestly, if I ever get buried, my tombstone is going to say, think about it. Think about it. Think about what you're doing. Think about what you're putting out. Think about how you're feeling. Think about what your choices are. Think about what you want. And then go for it, because that is what this life is all about. We are creative beings supported by the creative power of all of life. You don't like your seed? Get another seed. You know, there are seed catalogs. And February is the time. Think about what seeds you want to order. I want to order the seed of love. I want to order the seed of trust. I want to order the seed of clarity. I want to order the seed of wisdom. I want to order the seed of health. I want to order the seed of energy. I want to order the seed of success. I want to order the seed of prosperity. I want to order the seed of travel. I want to order the seed of friends. What seeds do you want to order? And then fix your plot and plant it. And every so often, at least go check on it. How am I doing? How am I doing with love? How am I doing with travel? How am I doing with success? How am I doing? Oh, you let a bunch of weeds grow all around this little plant. Now you can't even see it. It's just all weeds. Well, am I going to allow that to stay? Or am I going to choose and take action? I encourage you to choose and take action. Rip out the weeds that you no longer want to live, and watch how something wonderful grows in your life. And people will say, oh, you're so lucky. You just have it made. You know, you must have been born with a silver spoon in your mouth. No, no. You chose, you thought about it, you made the effort, and you got the harvest because you did something. I love these kinds of teachings because they give it all to you. You can have anything you want. You just have to do it. Instead of, you can't have anything you want and there's nothing to do. I would much rather work my butt off and have what I want than just live a life of desperation, feeling that there's an outside power that's not going to give it to me no matter what happens, that I am just born to suffer. What a crock that is. Crock. an American slang term. So he's talking about being, this is being and becoming. He's talking about being as us, as man, he calls it, generic man, and being as spirit. Being is becoming constantly. This is a book on the creative flow. So he's talking about my personal being is always becoming in my world, and being on a really big scale is always becoming, but more in a grand way, like universes and time and space and life, things like that. But he's saying that there is no demarcation line between my being and spirit being. And if there is no line between us, then the same process and power of spirit becoming is my process and power. I have all that spirit has, even though when I look at it, it's got a small b instead of a big B. You cannot divide the universe up. You cannot separate an infinite into me and spirit. It isn't. It's just one. And so open up your mind to this idea that you are the capital being. It seems like you're a small b, but you are the big B. It has to be all the same. And I love when I just want to really feel big. It's like I command right now the power of all creation. I love that because that is what I am. And I have within me the power of creation to call forth into form anything that I am willing to be in alignment with, to have in my consciousness, to know, to believe, then that is mine. And nothing can stop me, nothing can take it away. It is mine. The same way that there's time and space and lights and floors and gravity and all of that, that is mine. I love that. Makes me feel big. And so often people go, even in this teaching, well, I'm just a part of spirit. Ernest says that. And then he says, no, in order for an infinite to exist, it must exist in its totality at every point simultaneously. And then he'll say, well, you're just a part of spirit. He was conflicted. He hadn't had decades to work it out. You can't be a part of spirit. You cannot divide an infinite. Period, end of story. It's no longer an infinite. It's two parts, two halves. So there's no line between you and spirit. There's no doorway. There's no other realm. It's all you. You are becoming. Isn't that cool?
Why becoming?
Because the book is being and becoming. So he says our destiny is determined by our attitude of mind. And I'm going to read this poem. This is a poem by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. He doesn't say that, but I know her cadence and her tone so well that I know that it is her. I used to have a book of her poems of power, that were on our website, and when we moved to the new hosting site, it seems to have vanished, so I'm going to find it again. She was called the Poet Laureate of New Thought, and this is on page 86. It's the last of chapter 10. Give love, and love to your life will flow, a strength in your utmost need. Have faith, and 1,000 hearts will show their faith in your word and deed. For life is the mirror of king and slave. 'Tis just what you do, it is just what you are and do. Then give to the world the best you have, and the best will come back to you.
What's her name again?
Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Ella Wheeler Wilcox. She's out there on Google. It's all in public domain. There's another one of hers. You never can tell what your thoughts will do in bringing you pain or love. For thoughts are things, and their airy wings fly fast, fly swift as a carrier dove. They follow the laws of the universe. Each thing must create its kind and fly o'er the tracks to bring swiftly back whatever went out from your mind. So no class next week. A week from Sunday, we've got our Welcome Home John party, so please come. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna be able to write little notes on the whiteboard. John has been home for the last number of months, so it's not that much of a shock to people that he's coming home. But those of us who have been around for a few years, we knew what it was like to have him, and we knew what it was like for him to be gone, and having him back is great. So we're gonna have an opportunity to write some little love notes to him, and then we've got class that very next night, and then it's off to Costa Rica with me. Any questions or comments? Great, take out what you're gonna give. Hold it in your hand. Those of you watching online, you too can give to this center that makes available such wonderful classes and teachings by going to the donate button on our website. If you're on YouTube, just go to www.cslasheville.org. Every page has a donate button on it. Thank you. And what I know is that Spirit is source, that we are rich and blessed, that we are the captains of our fate and we determine our destiny. That right here and right now we think the thoughts that serve us, we feel the feelings that serve us, we speak the words that serve us, and we truly become the light in the world. We live that blessed and rich life right here and right now, watching our garden grow, and the manifestations of our thought come into form in greater and greater and greater ways. I know that each one of us comes together tonight to give this gift and make this Center for Spiritual Living Asheville all that it was ever meant to be. It is a place of peace, a beacon of light, a tower of strength, and a fountain of wisdom that touches the lives of all who call it home. And so it is. Breathe it in, breathe in that air. We have all the power, all the love, all the joy. We have all the opportunity that we give ourselves. And so right here and right now, we take that opportunity. We allow ourselves to be the blessing and the blessed. We know that who we are makes a difference in the world. And what we do creates lives that are rich and healthy and happy in every way. And I know right here and right now that everything in these baskets is blessed. That when we give, that which we are goes with our gift. And so I see it as golden energy, golden light, filling up this room from the floor to the ceiling, all between the walls. This air is rich and blessed with God as us, touching and blessing and healing each and every one of us, going out around this world to touch and bless and heal every being on this planet. Always here, always now, touching every one of us here tonight, everyone who has ever been here, and everyone yet to come. And so it is. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week. I am going to be fantastic on Sunday talking about the law of attraction.